All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been writing Java programs to go along with Java, starting out with Objects Early Edition, or 5th Edition, Early Objects 5th Edition, I think it is, by Tony Gaddis. And so far it looks like I've written about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I've got about 19 programs done, and I'm still working on the 20th. So what I've done in this example here is I've created another interface file, and it's used in the program, and as you can see, I've got my old max non-OT. I've got my overtime rate. Those are both doubles, max non-OT being 40, overtime rate being 1.5 or time and a half. I've got my min hours and my max hours, which are 0 and 84 respectively, and my default hours, which is 40. So what I do is if the user puts in a number less than 0 or a number greater than 84, I just reset it to the default of 40. In a similar way, with the pay rate, the minimum pay rate is $10 an hour, the maximum pay rate is $100 an hour. And they are represented with constants, as you can see right there. And there's a default rate, which is $25 an hour. So if a user puts in something that is under 10 or over 100, it'll reset it to 25. All right, that's for my hourly employee. Then for commission employees, I have minimum sales being nothing and maximum sales being $1 million. And again, if you put in something negative or something greater than $1 million, defaults to 10,000. The commission rate has to be between 10% and 33%. And again, if you put in a number less than 10% or a number greater than 33%, it defaults back to 25%. And finally, we have piece workers. And piece workers can have the minimum number of pieces they can make would be 0. The maximum number of pieces they can make would be 1,000. And if you put in a negative number or a number greater than 1,000, it defaults to 100. And finally, this is price per piece. PPP isn't a great name, but it's what I used. The minimum price per piece shouldn't have been 0. It should have been 1 cent, sorry. All right, so that the minimum is a penny per piece. The maximum is $1 per piece. I didn't have to put in the other 0 right there, I just did. And if you put in nothing, it's 25 cents. All right, so that's the interface file. Okay, then we've got our payroll.java file. Let me just show you here. I did make this, and I made a GUI. So there it is. Believe it or not, that's that orange color. I don't know if that's exactly orange or not, but that's what they claim. And first name, last name, social security number, employee type, that's a drop down, so you can choose either hourly, or you can choose commission, or you can choose piece worker. In addition, I keep track of the total number of employees and the total payroll. Now, there are so many ways that this program could have been improved. All right, right now, there's almost, other than range checking, there's no other checks that go on in here. What I was going to do originally was I was going to put in exception handling and the like. This program already, even without that, is already up to about 400 lines. There you go. There is duplication in the program, so that could have been cut down as well. Let's run it and take a look at it. Okay, so here it is. So I come through here and I say first name Jeff, last name Scott, social security number 111-22-22-3333. There's nothing checked on the social security number either. So hourly employee is fine. So that's all the information you put in. In fact, both of these right here are read-only text fields. So I click calculate and it says, please enter the number of hours you worked between 0 and 84. Let's put in 50. Say I've got some overtime. and the hourly rate, let's say 10. And it comes back, Jeff Scott, social security number, hours, rate, and gross pay. In addition, we now have one employee who made $550. All right, notice there's a clear all and a clear most. I'm going to click the clear most, and these first three then are going to clear. Okay, so Sandy, Scott, 222-334444. We'll say she's hourly as well. And let's say she worked $40 and 40 hours rather, and she makes $75 an hour. So she made $3,000. Click OK. We now have two employees. The 3,000 plus the 55 or 550 that I had are now in there, as you can see. Clicking clear most again. Taylor, not Taylot, she wouldn't like that. Taylor, Scott, 333-445555. We'll say that she is a commission employee. Her sales, we're going to say we had a good week, $100,000. Her commission rate is 30%. So, $100,000, 30%, she made $30,000. Three employees, we had 30,000 to the 3,550 we had, and you can see it's still giving the running total. We'll again click clear most. We'll come in here, we'll make this Mackenzie. She will be a piece worker. And the price she gets per piece will be 0.75 cents. And the number of pieces she made will be 358. All right, so she made $268.50, and that's now for employees. We added that in. We'll click clear most again. We'll put in Chloe. And just so you see this, we will say that she is an hourly employee, but we're going to put in things that are out of whack. So for number of hours, we're going to put in 1,000. All right, for the pay rate, we're going to put in 1,000. And it went back and it reset it to the defaults of 40 and 25. So when I click OK, this should go to 34,818.50, and it does. So ideally, going through that quickly, you can kind of see what's going on here. I'm going to minimize this. I built this the same way I built the one in the previous chapter. I didn't add things really probably in the order I should have, so I had to kind of move stuff around. But label, 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 label. So what, 6 labels, 4 text fields. 3 text fields here, 2 read-only text fields right there, and a drop-down list right here. I centered everything. I made the font a little bigger on all of these and on here. And I made the font a little bigger on here. All right. Now notice if I do click clear all, how everything clears. Okay. All right. And I can exit to get out. So as we take a quick look through here, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but as we take a look through here, I'm going to say, did I put a comment in there? And the answer is no. 12 and 13, we didn't have payroll programs, so it should be the one after this one. So it should be the 13th payroll program that we're creating here. In fact, we did have another one after this. Oh, we didn't. It was the calculator. Okay. That's the interface file. That's the one we want. So this is the 13th payroll program demonstrating the use of classes. Not so much. Getter said no, no, no. We'll just say demonstrating the use of graphical user interfaces, also known as GUIs, taken from chapter 14 of our Gaddis Java book. So all of the stuff that you saw in here, again, this is my attempt. I'm not going over the Java FX. Instead, I'm using Window Builder, which I talked about in an earlier lecture. So all this stuff here was created for me. In the same way, so was all of this. So as I drag things onto the to my screen or my interface, my form, whatever you want to call it, this stuff was created for me. Then I came back in here and I created some of my own variables. Notice I made this static. I wanted to make sure there was only one of them. And with a static variable, you initialize it once, and then it holds that value, all right, until you tell it not to. Same thing with total gross. This is the gross, so it'll be figured out differently depending on whether or not the user is hourly, commission, or piecework. This is the stuff for the hourly worker. This is the stuff for the commission worker. This is the stuff for the piece worker. I created a decimal format object. This was all code created for me. So was this, so was this, all of this. It's one of the things I like so much about doing this GUIs like this, is it writes a lot of code for you. Now I did put one line in here and I had to actually look it up online, and that was this line right here, because I couldn't figure out how to center the stuff that was in the combo box, and I found that online. You'll notice if you take a look right here, I've got a couple warnings. It says that this should be parameterized, and I think this one says the same thing. I just decided I'm going to leave it the way it is. All right. So here's basically starting the code that I wrote. This is the stuff I wrote. So what? Let's see. The value is not used. The value is not used. The value is not used, which isn't true. All right, so that's the first name, the last name, the social security number, and whatever they chose. Sorry. All right, I'm sorry about that. When I'm in my apartment and when my air conditioning kicks on, it's very hard to hear. I tested it once just to see, and it's louder than I am, so. Okay, so what I did then was in the action performed event. So this is basically going to be in my button for, this is the button for the calculate. Okay. First thing I do is I grab, again, whatever was put into the text box for the first name, then the text box for the last name, then the text box for the social security number, and then whatever index number is in the drop-down list. So in other words, I'm grabbing what's in here, what's in here, what's in here, and if they chose hourly, the index will be 0. If they chose commission, the index will be 1. And if they chose piece worker, it will be 2. Okay? So regardless, I've got another employee, so I'm adding 1 to that emp count, which was that static integer variable that I defined up above. Then I do a switch, and I do the switch based on the employee type. So again, if it was a 0, it's hourly, a 1, it's commission, a 2, it's piece worker. And if it's not one of those, which shouldn't even be possible, I just said break. Now I didn't, as I've been doing, I didn't put a ton of comments and stuff in here. All right, I let, because I worked on it this morning, so I just didn't. Okay, here's the clear button. Notice that when the clear all calls clear rest, which is the one that's going to clear just those two read-only text boxes, and clear most. And clear most will clear out the first name, the last name, the social security number, and it'll set the focus. I guess I never did anything there with the drop-down list, resetting the index to 0 or anything like that, but I just didn't. Okay? All right. Clear rest then will also take that text field with the total employees and the text field with the total payroll, and clear rest, that will call that. So again, I want to make sure you understand. When you click clear most, it's going to clear this field and this field and this field. When you click clear all, it will first clear this field, and then it'll call the same routine as the clear most to clear this field and this field and this field. And then put the focus right there. For the exit, pretty simple, just system exit, system.exit 0. Here was the label for the total employees in the text field, the label for the total payroll in the text field. I already went over the clear most and the clear rest with you. What I did was I set all of these basically up in the same way. Again, it would be quite possible to go and redo this and write it in a much better way than I've written it, okay? It works. Am I happy with it? Sure, I'm happy enough. Am I ecstatic with it? Of course not. All right. So process hours first validates the hours by making sure they're within range. Then it validates the rate by making sure that's within range. Then, and if they're not within range, it resets them both to the default values. And then it calls calculate gross, which I, again, did both overtime and non-overtime. And once you get the gross, we add it to tote gross. Then we print this out. One place where this could definitely have been improved is every time I'm doing this. And I've repeated that 3 times. All right, there was a lot better way of writing it than the way I did it. So that there's one place right there we could have saved some code. The process commission is set up in the same way. We validate the sales by making sure sales, all right, are within range. Then we do the commission rate to make sure that the commission rate is within range. If they're both within range, very simply, all we do for the gross is say sales times commission rate. And then again, we add the gross to our total gross, and we print everything out. Then we've got our piece worker. Again, we validate our price per piece. And it's so easy when you're working with these to go and put the wrong field in or the wrong constant in or whatever. So I'm always trying to go back and look to make sure that I didn't miss anything. So that's the price per piece. This is the number of pieces. We again multiply one by the other. That gives us our gross, which we add to total gross. And here is our printing it out in the dialog box. Finally, for setting our accumulators, all right, I don't know if you'd call this a little magic, but what I did here, I don't know why it wanted this, but when I had this set up here to a double, and I tried to use this on it, it wanted it to be a string, because I guess when you're formatting it, it's formatting it as a string. Doing this line here with the gross and the one down here, okay, notice that's TG in here. That allowed me to keep the $, the commas, etc., because previous to that I didn't have them, and I was only going to one decimal place. So again, what I tried to show in this example was, again, I used an interface, which wasn't that big of a thing one way or the other, but I tried to show one last time. Again, there's nothing at all wrong with what they show in the book with using the Java FX, but I instead used Window Builder because I had taught that to myself about a year ago, and I came in here and did this. Again, the program could have been improved. I could have added exception handling. I could have added a lot more stuff. It already was 400 lines, so I figured it was probably long enough already. So I'm going to close this. Sure. And I'm going to close this. And I'm going to close this. So I have now completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 programs. All right. When I come back, I don't know if I'm going to do this tonight or tomorrow morning, I'm going to complete the 20th one. All right. Which is going to be the one they use in the book. It's the running program example that's used in the book for chapter 16. All right. As always, if you do go out to youtube.com, sign back in, I guess I've signed out. But by now, everyone hopefully is aware of the fact that once you get in there, this is my channel, and there are now 37 videos, about to be 38 when I complete this one. So we'll do one more, which will be 39 if I can do that in one video. Otherwise, it'll be an even 40. Either way, it's no big thing one way or the other. So I have under... If you just go out to this URL, so if you've ever been confused as far as this stuff that's in here, I'm just going to put this all out here right now. So the Java videos are here. I also have C# videos, and those are here. I also have ASP.NET videos. And those are here. And finally, I've got HTML5, CSS3, and soon to be JavaScript videos. We haven't gotten into the JavaScript portion of the class yet, but we will soon. And that is under, come on, here. So I'm literally going to wait for about a minute or two. And I'll leave those up there, so if you've got any interest in looking at these, great. All right. What I will do, I'm not going to have time to do it right now. I'm not even going to start it right now, but fairly soon, I'm going to start with some Android videos. All right. But once we get the JavaScript, and if you look in here, for example, if we look, the Java has like 39 videos. The C# has 29 videos. The ASP.NET has got 29 videos. And the AWD1000, the web stuff, has now got 83 videos. All right. So as you can see, there'll be well over 100 of those once we get into the JavaScript stuff. But that's pretty much it for what is in the program other than Android. I'm going to be doing some other stuff on my own, probably fairly soon, using C#, and I may end up, not C#, C++, and I may end up putting those videos out there also. I have not said this before, but, again, if you have any comments, please feel free to email me at jpscott@rankin.edu. I hope you're enjoying these videos. but even more importantly, all right, I hope you're getting something out of them. Thanks.